Today we're going to make sure how we can link our Fabric environment to an external tenant's Azure DevOps for source control. So let's dive right into my laptop. All right, so maybe you've been working with Azure DevOps for source control for Git repositories, and we can enable Fabric workspaces to put their stuff into Git repositories as well. So let's use Azure DevOps here. I've created on my main tenant, I've created a project called Kimura with a repository called TFG demo, which is that Fabric guy demo. And then within Microsoft Fabric, I moved to my testing tenant. This is an external tenant, kdf2.io, and on this tenant I can run all kinds of tests with an external tenant. So let's start by creating a new workspace, and let's call this TFG test because we are going to test our stuff right here. Let's make sure to enable Fabric, and then let's go from here. Remove task close for now because I don't really care about them, and let's create a lakehouse. Here we go. This is Lakehouse with schemas. Yes, please. And let's also create a notebook. That one's just notebook. There we go. And then we will connect the notebook to the Lakehouse. So we go this. All right, skip this for now. There we go. All right, so now here we have our amazing setup in our workspace. Now from workspace settings, we can configure the Git configuration because we want to put in Azure DevOps, and we want to use maybe not my Entra account because I want to share this connection to an external Git environment with many of my colleagues or with my customers or with whoever. So what I'm going to do is, instead of using this, I'm going to create a connection. Let's go here to settings, then to manage connections and gateways. And from here, we can click on new connection. We will connect to a cloud source, and the connection type here should be Azure DevOps. If it's here, it's here, Azure DevOps source control. And let's call this one TFG test for now. Now we need to put in a DevOps URL, and that is dev.azure.com, which is the base URL /organization project until repository. So let's just copy paste that from here, because that was already there. And here we are, base URL, organization project, and repository name. For authentication method, we will pick OAuth, and we will edit credentials, wait for the pop-up. We will sign in. And there we are. This is fine, and let's click create. So now we've created a connection called TFG test, which connects to the Azure DevOps in another tenant. Now we go back to our workspace. We go to workspace settings. We go to Git integration, and here we now have TFG test. Let's connect to that. It's now asking us to figure out which branch to connect with. Let's say main, and let's put things here in a folder called Fabric. And then what I usually do is TFG test. Usually I put in my repositories Fabric and then the workspace name, and then put all the stuff in there. Why do I do that? Because maybe besides the Fabric artifacts that I'm going to put in, I'm also putting in documentation, tooling, maybe other stuff, archive, whatever. And then I'm segregating my Fabric folder by workspace, because I might have a bronze workspace, silver workspace, gold workspace, ETL workspace, and so on. So let's do connect and sync. It will ask me, the folder doesn't exist. Do you want to create a folder? Yes, create and sync. And we are now connected to the Git repository. Fabric is syncing the content from the workspace to Git in order to make sure that the code and the definitions of our stuff actually end up in the other tenant's Git environment. And you can see here right on the screen that they are syncing, and they have been synced right now. So if we go to our demo and refresh the page, we can now find that there's a Fabric folder, that there's TFG test, that there's Lakehouse and Notebook that are there, and they are called lakehouse.lakehouse and notebook.notebook because .lakehouse and .notebook, they will that will tell you the object type, and the part before the dot, that's actually the name of the object. And from here we can find out that we have all kinds of files that then tell us the definitions basically of our Lakehouse in this case, and of our notebook in this case. Now, this is really cool. Now, if we go into our notebook and we start writing code, we say here maybe x equals 1, and yes, skip that tour, please. In another cell, we say y equals x times 2, and here we say print y. Oops, print y. And we can run this or not. I don't really care about running this code for now. But what we can find out here is if we go to source control, it didn't pick up any of the changes, but it will now. Indeed, I go to source control to pick up the changes. From here, we can find out that we have made changes between the version that is in Git and the version that we have in the workspace. You can see that we have removed an empty line and we have added some code here. And let's say we want to put these changes into our repository. We select the object, we hit commit, and a new commit will be made on our workspace. And a new commit will be made on our Git repository. So we go here, and now when we refresh the history, we can find that in Fabric, TFG test, notebook, and then here the content, we can now see our cells x equals 1, y equals x times 2, and then print y. And if we go to history here, we find that there's 2 commits on this file. If we pick the latest version in the history, it will show us the diff like you are used to in a standard Git diff. All right, super easy connecting to an external repository. This is very helpful for consultants, for people that work with many tenants, with external tenants. And usually as a consultant, you might be managing code in a customer's tenant from your own Azure DevOps tenant. That's at least what I like to do. In certain instances where we manage everything, I will do it like this. In other instances, maybe we will put code on the customer's DevOps, depending on how proficient they are with DevOps, with source control, with code versioning, and so on. I hope you liked this video. Give me a big thumbs up and press subscribe on my channel, please. That's how I grow my channel, and I will see you next week.